Good morning. Oh, I haven't had my coffee yet. I need some help this morning. Let's try it again. Good morning. Oh, that was so much better. Y'all started my day off so well. I'm Karen Jenkins, chair of the Columbia Chamber, and I am honored to be here. Thank you, Troy, for that wonderful and just heart-touching prayer. I come from a place of gratitude for each and every one of you for being here, for our members, for our newest member, one of our newest members, Scout, who has come to our community. We welcome you. We thank you for being here and look forward to hearing all the wonderful things that you have in store for our community. Each and every one of you is an integral part of our community. If you're not a member of the chamber, I want you to look around and I want you to see just one small minor reason why you should. We have Scout here with us today. There are not many other organizations that can say that they have Scout here with them today. I have been honored with just so many things, and one of the things one of my mentors says is that gratitude is the fertile ground for receivership. And as a community, we have been grateful for all the things that we have been blessed with, our beautiful rivers, our zoo, our community, our thriving business community. And as a result of that, we have received, and we will continue to receive. Companies like Scout, who will come in and not only bless us with jobs, with just an economic infusement, but just all the other integral things that they will do for our business community, our community as a whole. So I just want to take this time again, just from my heart to yours, to thank you for being here. We look forward to seeing you again, and definitely look forward to hearing Dr. Spies and all that he has to contribute. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Matt Littlejohn. I'm the division CEO for MUSC here in the Midlands. Just want to say how much I enjoy coming to these every morning or every month. Get to see a lot of friends, get to see a lot of colleagues, enjoy watching everybody interact with each other. Come in here, just reminds me of how proud I am to be part of this community. Get to run into people like Bill Price. Bill, stand and be recognized real quick. Go ahead. And I want y'all to take note. Yeah, there he is. Recently retired CEO of the YMCA, retired 4 months ago. Used to wear a tie every day, and my man walked in this morning with tennis shoes and an all linen outfit on. I'm just the jealousy. I can barely contain it. But as we get ready to listen to Scout, I think about progress and how difficult it can be. MUSC, formerly Providence, and the Sisters of Charity, as many of you know it, we actually are celebrating our 50th anniversary of our heart program. So we were the second open heart program in the state to get launched at the time, and believe it or not, that actually came with a lot of resistance. And so we were at the Heart Ball, and Dr. Mac Leopard, who many of you may know that name, he was sort of a godfather of our facility downtown, was one of the pioneers of our open heart program and made it very successful. But he told a story at the Heart Ball about how difficult it was, to actually bring open heart surgery to Columbia, and the resistance that we faced, and didn't feel like we were ready for it, or didn't feel like we were the right market for it. And that was met with lots of controversy. And so as we get ready to hear about Scout coming to our community, I want everybody to be eyes wide open to the fact that progress is not always easy, but it's more important just to push through it, and it's up to leaders to actually support it and be on the cutting edge of it. And so we're very proud to have a community that is going to support progress. And it, like I said, happened 50 years ago, met resistance, but we powered through, and it's one of the programs that we're most proud of today. And I think that that's reflective of a lot of things that we see happening in our community. And so whatever those are for you, think about it and be proud of it and supportive of progress in our community. So thank you guys very much.
Good morning. My name is David Looper, and I am the Public Policy Chair this year. And so we're thrilled to have Scout here, obviously, and have everyone else here too. Susan from the chamber called me last week and said, this morning, Karen's going to be in town. She's been traveling, but made a special trip back to be here. And y'all are going to split up introduction duties. And Karen's going to do the welcome, and you're going to introduce Dr. Spies. And then I got his resume and saw these institutions of higher education in Switzerland and Germany that he's been to. And I said, Karen got me this time. So in lieu of me stumbling over the names of these institutions, I want to touch on a little bit of all the responsibilities that Dr. Spies is going to have at the Scout plant here. So he is over the operation, and he will be ensuring that the needs-based planning and realization of the production processes and investments happen. He's in charge of the planning tasks for the new building and the modification of all the factories. He's the worldwide lead of all the planning tasks, so best copy, technology transfer, innovations, target achievement, standardizations, and he'll be over the implementation and the ramp up of all of the factory and all the others. And we were talking before the meeting, he's done this many times across the world and is just best in class at what he does. So Dr. Spies, we're happy to have you here in Columbia and happy to have you here this morning.
So thank you very much. Fantastic crowd here this morning. Thank you very much for just being in the neighborhood. We just had to walk over from our new office here downtown in Bull Street, and it's great to be introduced like that, despite the fact that you see that you're really old. Coming from Germany, you might have heard I have done exactly some of factory projects before for our owner Volkswagen. However, you could ask, how am I now coming here when it's about having an all-American factory and an all-American brand? And Volkswagen is our investor, but it's not the owner that says what we have to do. So I'm completely relocated here. My family is here. I'm here. I'm even paying taxes here. So therefore, it's just a language you have to learn still. But most of all, I think you're interested in getting to understand how this huge project from a company that at the moment is fairly small will be developing. So what I'm trying to work a little bit around is introduction into the Scout heritage, into our brand, and into our company as we build it up at the moment. And most of it, I think it's interesting as well to talk a little bit about the product that we are developing, because everybody knows, honest or not, the question, is the electric mobility now the right direction or not, is one that is always sort of floating around here. And I think we should talk about that. And most of it, I mean, we just talked about somebody coming from Cobblestone. I mean, it's about the plant. The plant is a huge project. It's a one-off. It's something everybody can be part of. So it's a little bit about the factory as well, but I think we should start with, let's say, the emotion, the brand, and the heritage, where we're coming from, and we have a little movie for that.
When you're raised in the heartland, you learn that the seeds you sow become the plants you harvest. In our case, we seeded an idea for something unique and so simple it could be sketched on a sheet of paper. It was a new kind of vehicle, capable of both off-road adventure and family duty. The first SUV. We called it the Scout. That was back in '61, before Bronco, before Blazer, before anybody. The new decade ushered in a new generation of Americans. Adventurous, hardworking, optimistic. It was a time of cultural shift, and the Scout was a machine for the moment. Those who were drawn to it formed a tribe of kindred spirits, people who recognized how big, how beautiful, how vast America was, and wanted to get out and experience it. And for the next decades, the Scout led us on a joyous adventure. Then something happened. As the 70s met the 1980s, there were tough times. Turns out letting others do our work for us doesn't work for us. But they say that storms make the roots grow deeper. And for the decades that followed, the Scout community held tight through the mud, the sand, the snow. Through it all, they kept our legacy looking polished and shining, so the soul of Scout could live on. We knew if we ever got the chance, we'd go back to work here in America and make the Scout once again. We'd reboot and re-energize the Scout for our time, So we're going back to work. It starts here in Blythewood, South Carolina, where the soil is literally made of iron, and the people possess an iron will to work hard. At the site of the new Scout Motors Production Center, we're putting down our roots and restoring American manufacturing, brick by brick. Scout has a new home and a new beginning. We know our future will honor our past.
So with me having an engineer here, you could ask now, okay, what's the baseline of it? We're basically starting with an heritage of a car that is known to be honest, that is known to be functional, that is known to be very clear, straightforward, and functional. This product was in ads like that. But maybe one more thing, if you would look to the very down right ad, then you see an SUV, not our normal. An SUV used as a vacation car, not our normal. It's driving to a hotel, today, very common. And it's driven by a female driver, absolutely normal. But this ad is from the 60s. So what you see is, there's a lot of innovation in that brand, and we shouldn't forget about that. And what is the second thing? The second thing is basically the essence of the whole thing, of the whole Scout. It's basically the term of connection. When we talk about what is the essence of that car, what we try to push into the future, it's the connection between work and leisure. It's the connection between country and road. It's the connection between every day and weekends. So that connection, to produce that again, to have a product around that is straightforward, that is honest, that it's not some toy, I think that's what we have. And that was very good called a Scout. Now again, me coming not from the US, using the term Scout, of course we use it in Germany. And if we use it very positively. It's the guys who go first, who go further, who come back, who tell about stories, who make things happen. That's the Scout. And I think that's very well fitting to what we try to do. Now you could ask, how is that whole thing starting? The whole thing is starting by the International Harvester Group. I just have to see where I have to point that the whole thing is functioning here. There it is. The International Harvester Group, all of you will know, it's basically one of those large companies that built up America, that fed America, that defended America, and it was breaking into pieces over the years, and one piece of it is Navistar. Navistar had been acquired by Volkswagen over a long period of time, and with them, the little name of Scout and the brand. And that's basically the present they gave us to build this company. One present, and the other present is Volkswagen is our investor. It's our investor. It's not the company that is ruling us. It's, I think, very important to talk a little bit about that. We do have an own board of directors. We do have own administration. We do have own IT. We don't even have an own engineering department. So what we are doing here is basically we're building up a company, and we are happy that Volkswagen is investing in it. And it's not just an Atlas or Tiguan with a Scout badge. It will not be at all. So next thing is you could ask, okay, what is this company built upon? So if you now have the, I think I don't find the direction yet, but I will. If I have the company that we're building up, it's not just an idea and we do it. Yes, we're a startup in some sense when you look at how we have to do things. On the day-to-day business, I myself, I do stuff I probably will not do in 3 years from now, but hey, that's the startup of it. However, we are not just an idea starting it. We have, I think, 4 piles on which we are building that company. Number one, as said, we have a very solid and a long-term thinking investor. So it's not every 3 months we have to go out to the stock market and tell a story. We have to do something sustainable over a long period of time. I think very good for a region like here, where you see we're here and we're here to stay, and not just because of an idea. Number 2, we are working on a trend that is one that is over years and that will continue over years. It's the outdoors thinking, it's the sustainability thinking. There might be bumps in the road. However, we all know that's the direction we all want to go. And this direction is number 2 on which we are building on. And number 3 is If we are now making a car, we're doing it in the largest segment. It's an American car, it's for the Americans, and therefore the segment of, let's say, 5 million cars being SUVs and pickups, that's the big segment in which we want to be. Why? Because it's a very solid and robust, and it's one segment that affects all of us. That's why it's not a European car, it's not an Asian car, it's just and only for the US. And number 4, it's all the introduction that I showed you. It's an authentic brand. We have a heritage, we have somehow an image that we want to carry forward. So easy speaking, and to summarize, basically what we're coming with is more than just an idea. We're convinced that what we are building here as a company, that will last and that will function. And yes, there will be bumps in the road, but we'll survive those. And now it's when you are coming into the game. Why are we here? Of course, we are here because we want to be part of that community. We want to be part of you helping, growing with us. Because we know it doesn't work that we just come here and do business. Yeah, now, looking back, coming from a large group that has experience with that, this group has never, except for 2 times out of 110, sold, destroyed, or closed a factory. So basically, coming here with a factory is part of the overall commitment. And that's what will help South Carolina, what will help Columbia to grow and to strengthen your economic power as well. And we need that. So we're not just here to help, we need your help as well, because besides the fact that coming here, of course, financially was attractive, of course, the potential we saw, of course, the infrastructure is here. Looking at 72 sites and choosing this one, of course, was very technical. But on the other side, it was very much about what's the supply base? Is there the potential that it can grow? What's the people base that we can look at? What is the neighborhood in which we are moving? And at the end of the day, yes, it's as well the people that have contacted us that we were talking with a year ago, that was basically the cherry on the cake where we said, hey, working with them is fun. That's good. And at the end of the day, that is part of the decision that we made. And now it's about getting contact, connecting with you, and getting to know the people that we want to work with. And this is why we have a very strong commitment to invest in engagement with the community. Yeah? I myself have done, I think, 20 shows just showing our model. The model of the plant, how it will be, to the neighborhood, to others, and we'll do it again and again. We did our groundbreaking. We did as well other meetings, and I'm very happy to be here and explain a little bit about our motivation. Why? Because it's about getting connected. Today we're just 50 people here, maybe 60. We will have to grow, and that's where we need your help. And as well, you have to understand that we try to be honest and transparent. Why? Because we, of course, will put harm into the neighborhood as well. We just talked about the guys from Cobblestone. I'm not sure if somebody here is from Ashley Oaks. I myself drive every weekend around and look at it. Why? Because, change hurts sometimes. We take away some trees, we make an empty soil, we put there concrete, we build a plant. That's the best way of industrialization that can happen to you, because an assembly plant employing people is fantastic. However, it's change. The way there is not always easy. So we want to talk to those people who are affected. We want to understand what the problems are, try to work against them, and show where we are going. This is part of the engagement as well. So not only conveying the positive news, as well talking about the negative ones. Poonam and myself, I think we had dozens of one-on-ones with neighbors. If it's necessary, we do it. And if we're talking about the neighbors, we're again with the people. I think one commitment that everybody saw in the news, and I point to you over there, yes, that we saw in the news was about 4,000 jobs that we want to create. That's first of all the number. Sounds like just a number, and it's more than that. 4,000 jobs being 3,500 blue-collar workers. Sounds like, okay, people with blue colors and blue dresses walk into the factory and come out. No, it's more than that. Why is it more than that? We need maintenance people. We need operators. We need people who want to grow in that organization, become a supervisor, become a leader. This is careers we're talking about. We're talking about opportunities. We're talking about getting here, staying here, have a family here, and grow with our factory. Now, me personally, coming from the area of Wolfsburg, where 70 years long Volkswagen is, we have third-generation people working in that plant. This is community connection. And this is exactly what we're offering here at the moment. And the same is on the indirect side. Who looks at our webpage, who talks to us, sees we're trying to find engineers, we're trying to find HR people, basically everything. And it's very important, it's not about taking them away from companies that are represented here or maybe not represented here. It's not about stealing them from our neighbors. Why? Because we all rely on the supply base that we are living in. So basically, we all have to grow. And I think this is a great opportunity. So our HR manager is already about to talk to the universities, to talk to the technical colleges, to talk to the schools. Because the guys that are today in schools are, of course, our employees of tomorrow. And even if it's hard to believe, we have the first 3 interns this summer. There's hardly a company yet, but we said, hey, let's take in some people to understand, to have them understand, to start to spread the message who we are and what we do. So it's about getting to know people. And this is why I like that sheet here. Our company at the moment is more than 400 people at all. Why? Because we have an engineering department in Michigan up there. We do have all around the US, we have remote workers. So there is already a company that is called Scout Motors. However, we are far away from the final growth. Now, why are we doing all of that? Now it's about the company, but I mean, at the end of the day, we have to earn money and we have to sell a product. And that product that we're talking about, I had the introduction, is very much trying to connect to what is the heritage that we have in the Scout. It's about capability, it's about durability, it's about robustness, it's about, honest functions to just deliver mobility. It's not about some fancy thing, it's about a good, robust, and functional car that we want to sell, that has an 8 days per week, that has an speed, that has an acceleration, all the stuff that we want, all the stuff that you want, to just have something that works. And yes, to achieve that on a sustainable way, it is electrical. But it's not first electrical and then we define the product. It's about, we think about the brand, we think about the functionality, and yes, the electrical mobility might fit to it. And now the question that everybody might raise, and we have to be honest about that as well, is how does that market develop? Is there a future for electrical cars? We think strongly yes. Again, we're talking about a market of 5 million whatever SUVs and pickups. We're talking about a plant that can produce 200,000 cars. So it's not about pushing somebody out of that market, it's getting our segment. It's getting a good, niche, robust segment where we think it's the right one. And of course, the electric mobility will grow. There's enough good reasons for it. Besides the sustainability, it is as well technical functionality. And now again, coming from Europe, having seen how it's developing there, maybe China is not the right example if you compare it, because China is very much political driven. But if you look at Europe, all the fragmented countries that work together, we see that there is a good tendency for that. For lots of good reasons, it will not go to 100%. Will it grow faster or slower? It depends on the area. But again, if it grows, if it's there for us, it's sufficient. But I don't hear somebody say it, but I see it in your faces. How do I charge that? Yeah, we all know the gas stations, and you can buy your Snickers there and fill up, and then you go, and that's it. And how does the charging function? Let's be honest. We're talking about a product at the moment that is developing. So if you talk 2 years ago, what is the right battery? You talk now about the right battery, and you talk it in 2 or 3 years. There's a development with a speed that you have seen in computers maybe 20, 30 years ago. In cars, we are very much now on a very stable movement. Here, there's a fast development. Same with the charging stations. 95% of you don't need a charging station outside your garage. Because if you take your daily use of a car, 95% of the driving, you will manage just by plugging it into the garage. If you go further, yes, the charging infrastructure will have to grow. But even, I mean, let's be honest, even the Europeans, old Europe, was able to manage that. Over a couple of years now, you can travel everywhere. We are here in the US, and as a visitor here, now as somebody living here, and I see a country where in just a very few hundreds of years, you have developed roads, lines, electricity, water, and so on in a way nobody else has anywhere on the globe. This is a small exercise for you. So if it's the right direction, it will grow. Therefore, we believe, yes, an electrical car is not only possible and the right thing at the moment, it is as well a great technical thing. There it is. It's as well, for an engineer, it's a fascinating thing. It's not just a small motor and a small battery and you have 2 wires and that's it, sounds boring. No, it is huge torque, it's big axles, it's great power, it's just a different technology. But I mean, the essence of it is fantastic. This is an axle as we build it. If you see it in real time, and yes, we have it moving already, if you see it in real time, hi, that's fun, that's really big stuff. And we all know mobility is as well about liking it. Yeah, so where are we in the product now finally? We are basically at the point in time that we are developing a car and that this car is about to be finalized in time. That this car will not, and I repeat that, will not be some sort of Volkswagen badge. It will be an own platform with an own technology and 2 different own hats on it, manufactured here, developed here, for the market being here. So the American story that we are writing is a very American one, and of course, mainly it's about then the factory. And the factory is the one that we are seeing at the moment growing in Blythewood. Okay, let's step maybe back a little bit. When we talk about the factory, it is, first of all, good news for all the neighbors. It's a very normal, standard automotive factory, which is today an assembly factory. It's not something where we forge or where we burn or where we weld too much, which causes problems. It's an assembly factory. We put together sheet metal parts and we spot weld them, we paint it, we assemble it. Most of the people are busy with assembly. So best possible. Why? If there are any changes over the next 2, 3, 20, 30 years, this factory will be able to cope with it. It's not something, if that technology goes, the factory is empty. Good news. Number 2, the size is a pretty normal size. We can build 200,000 cars per year. If we do a little bit harder, maybe 230. If the market really wants it, we can mirror the whole thing and we can double the capacity. We're not starting with that. Of course, we are careful as well. It is as well a factory that costs us over $2 billion. So it's a huge investment. For us, it's not only investment, it's a commitment. So once you take that money and you put it there, you're not leaving that easy. And I think that's the good news for all of us, including me, that the project we're doing is a very stable and robust product. If we look at the schedule, whoever has built something like that, whoever has been larger projects, whatever, seeing an airport being built, it is a marathon. We decided on this site last year, March. All the permittings, all the planning, lots of paperwork had to start on the technical side, on the legal side. Basically, by end of the year, we were through with that. Leveling of the site slowly started, now runs at full speed. This year, the year 2024, is basically the year of building, meaning foundations, columns, steel, closing the buildings, so that by end of the year, we have the most important parts of the buildings somehow closed. Because 2025 is then the next exciting part. It's the part when the expensive stuff moves in. So when we buy robots, almost 1,000. When we buy a paint shop, that's 70,000 square meters of technology. When we buy conveyor technology, we're not happy that it's too big and we're not happy that it's too small. It's exactly the right size because everybody knows more conveyors is more money, is more buffers. We don't want to have that. So technology here is a good level. And if you ask then, how is the automatization level? We are a factory that honors real work. So we are not friends of having the 100% fully automated factory. We want to have people who work in that factory, because there is some tactile, some brain capability that no robot, that no technology can copy. We want to be flexible and we want to have good jobs. So therefore what we do is a good level of automatization, having good people seeing good work in there. It's not the all clean, 0 people in their factory, because we don't believe in that. This factory, to build it up, of course, is a marathon. If you build in the technology in 2025, 2026 will be the ramp up. So the question, when are you building the first car? Is it Monday or Tuesday? We cannot answer. Why? Because starting here, ending there with the first car will go over weeks. and then it will accelerate, and then it will be one more, and one more, and one more, and then we are ramping up. So the ramp up will somehow be in 27, but the first cars will somehow be manufactured in 26. Just imagine if we have the first cars before you get them, there are some authorities that want to try that it's really safe. So therefore that comes on it as well. So it's a marathon, and we are now part of it. And if we look at the next picture, this is not good what we're making here. What we did have, and that's why I have that picture, is we did have a fantastic situation, and I think it's unique that we built the plant so close to the neighborhoods and that we are able to get in contact with the neighborhoods. This is a picture from our groundbreaking ceremony. Normally, you know, groundbreakings, 3, 4, 5 very honorable people standing there with a golden shovel and do whatever they do. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. We didn't do it like that. Why? Because we said groundbreaking here is basically, it's a statement. It's not about 3 or 4 honorable people. We were happy that they were there. Governor McMaster was there, lots of others were there. We were happy that they were there, and we were able to show that we were celebrating that with the neighborhood. So basically it was about, now we're here, now it's serious, and this is a commitment that we're staying. This was very important, so therefore groundbreaking, I think, was a little bit different. Now, what I brought with me is a film that needs a little bit explanation. I'm not sure if we can show the first picture and do not start it yet. Can you do that? Not started yet, very good. This is basically a drone flight. We are flying over the site with the drone more or less weekly. This flight is from April 5th, so it's very, very new. Because if you look on our site and you Google it somewhere and you take Google Maps, then you see everything as it was a year ago. If you would have a picture, an aerial picture from 3 months ago, it would completely look different from what it is today. If we fly that movie in 2 weeks, in 3 weeks, in 4 weeks, it will always change. So this is basically the situation, let's say, as is at the moment. Down right, you see a small window as well. On that small window in this flight, you see the factory. So we have basically simulated the flight, digital over the factory, and left in the big thing, you see the drone flying. And then I try to explain a little bit around that while it's flying. Maybe you can start that movie? No? Then, Poonam, you have to please look at it again. So we'll try on that one again. Why? Because I think what you can see on these pictures is different from what you see if you're an interested neighbor. If you're an interested neighbor and you drive by, you can drive by Blythewood Road, you can drive by Community Road, you can drive all around, but what you see is more like the frog perspective. Yeah, you see caterpillar here, pile of sand there, and something else there. What you don't see is the real development of the site at the moment. The real development of the site at the moment is very much that we do the earthwork together with the state. Fantastic activity. And now to just give some numbers, the total area of that factory is 1,100 acres. 800 of them will be usable. The elevation difference that we had, highest spot to the lowest spot, is 150 feet. 150 feet, if you think about making that to the same level, the amount of earth that has been transported and has still to be transported is historical. Why do we do that? If you're not having a flat surface, the factory doesn't function. Number two, because we were pretty slow with all our permits, we did, of course, not be able to start as early as we wanted with the earthworks. And the earthworks, therefore, had to start full speed somewhere around Christmas. So now we are working, building the factory and doing the earthwork hand in hand. That's basically like if you would have a cellar and you try to renovate it without taking something out. Yeah, just think of that. Putting something left, doing something on the right, and changing it again. That's basically the situation that we're having at the moment. We manage it. That's fantastic that we can do it. It's not easy, but the experts out there do a fantastic job. Next thing is, we have the first companies coming in, casting foundations for the columns that will come in 1 or 2 months, the first ones, and columns will be a lot. Yeah, if we talk about the size of the factory, it's 250,000 square meters of buildings, so that's a lot. And all of these need, in a grid of 50 foot, they need columns. All of that is happening today. What is the tomorrow? Now we're about to source the car. That means we talk to suppliers that are able, hopefully able, to supply us. The closer the suppliers are to us, the better it's for you, the community and the state, and the better it's for us because it's less transport costs that we have. So therefore what we try at the moment very intensively, you know, we had a supplier meeting here, we will have more supplier meetings up to come, is to attract suppliers to come to us. Yeah, to be in the area or at least start somewhere and then move here. And that's basically what I was saying, it's about developing the area. Number 3, some of the suppliers say, yes, we would like to come, but can you host us somehow? So that's why we are working on something we call Supplier Park. On site, there's an area where we're saying, hey, let's try to develop that suppliers can move in. However, it's our plot, it's our area. We are not selling off something from that site. Number 4, how do we develop the workforce? The workforce in that plant, of course, will be mainly consisting of people who have never been working in an automotive plant before. So training, recruiting people that are willing to do something, that are motivated, that have talent to work in a factory, and that somehow have the motivation to come to us is basically the people that we're trying to find. Trying to find people who have worked in automotive factories doesn't work. So therefore, we do have a big training activity as well. We get a training center on site, and we're very happy that Ready SC is supporting us heavily in allowing us to recruit and to train the people that go into the factory. And while we're not having the movie and they're trying back there, I'm continuing because you all have work to do today, I'm quite sure. Let's see if we can still do that. That leads to, we can play the movie as soon as they have, but that leads to basically for me the summary. We're coming from heritage, emotion about a brand. I try to show how we transport that into the future. That basically the basics, the essence of it, the factor of connection is one thing that we try to have forward, and that is one thing where we believe, we strongly believe that we build a product around that is more than just an idea. Why are we here? I think I was very clear about that. We want to attract suppliers, we want to be here as a good host, and we like to work together with all of you to work together to build up that company. The plant as we see it, or maybe not still see it, to be built up at the moment is basically, it's a big construction site. It's a huge investment, but it's only part of the story. Second part is and will be over the next 3, 4, 5 years very heavily recruitment of people, training of people, attracting people to come and stay here. And I think this is where the connection then really gets down to, we have to connect down here. And while we are going to have any of you who wants like to have questions, I try to give the answers as good as possible. I put up that slide with the different links, and you can photograph it or you can get it from Poonam as well. Those of you who are interested to collaborate with us, to get in contact with us, the various ways. I want to recruit, I want to provide something, and so on. This is basically the first shot to be done. And I'm happy to, and as everybody knows when talking to me, if it's somebody from the region, we're a little bit faster in answering, and we try to be maybe a bit more positive, because of course we want to work here as a team and as one community. So for that, thank you very much. Without the movie, first of all, this was basically the story around the Scout as we are standing at the moment. And I would be happy if anybody has questions to try to answer those. Thank you very much. Okay, there you go.
You take this.
So don't quote me, but the vehicle will have to be right in the middle of the market. So not the up, not the low. So if you say the normal SUV at the moment is whatever, between 40 and 80, then somehow we try to be in there. So not high class, not low class, right in the middle.
One more question. Something over here.
You mean R&D here in South Carolina? Yes, partly. At the moment, they're up in Michigan, and as very good researchers have read, we get support from the company of Magna, who is in Austria and in Michigan. That's why we're up in Michigan. But as soon as the pre-series is ramping up, engineers for the development A move down. I have people who are at the moment up there and then have to move back again. And B will be permanently here to basically do the series development as well. Yes?
From a sales model standpoint, ultimately, are you going to look at a dealership model, direct purchase from the internet? What might that look like?
At that point, we do not have a final answer on that one. We are still evaluating the different possibilities. I think highest on the agenda is the point on being a local American brand and not, and this is what you read sometimes in newspaper and we don't really like that, oh, this is Volkswagen doing this and that. Yeah, that would be the wrong approach, but we don't have a final decision on that one. Thank you.
When do we get to see what they look like?
So the question is, when do you get to see what they look like? I mean, legal correct answer is, of course, when you can buy them, because then all the bits and pieces are correct. So that's the legal answer. Anything you see before has that big of a disclaimer saying, I'm just blah, blah, blah. So, but now, from an engineering point of view, I expect that still this year, we will reveal something that is already pretty close. Yeah? Because we know, I mean, let's be open, we cannot go longer than another year with pictures of old cars. Yeah, I mean, they're cool, but we cannot sell them. Yeah.
From a workforce development perspective, you said 3,500 skilled jobs, and then 500 executive jobs. Will the executive jobs be here?
Yes.
And what will be the, I guess, average salary for?
That's different to be answered. I mean, first of all, if we look at the direct people, I mean, we are recruiting the first couple of still this year to train the process, to train about the recruitment, to have the first ones that we can somehow educate to do the difficult stuff. But that's more the exceptions, let's include them. But the mass hiring, if I'm allowed to take that term, will happen somewhere in the late 25, 26s. And until then, for the direct workforce, of course, we have to see what the market says at that point in time. And that's probably the strategy that we're following. We should be somehow in the market okay. It cannot be our goal to be over everything and to suck the good people out of the neighborhood. That's a mistake some companies tend to do. What is the result? The neighborhood increases as well, and basically we just have an inflation. And people move back and forth, and that's not good for qualification either. So we try to be somehow in the good standard. Yes, not below, but not an extra high salary, because we believe this is not the long-term solution that we can offer. However, salaries will develop. On the indirect side, one has to see. If we talk about the approximately 500 people, the average is a little bit difficult to talk about because we do have supervisors, shift leaders, and we do have engineers, sort of a different scope of things. If you're interested in where we are at the moment, well, just go on our website and look at sort of what is the range we're in at the moment. But as said, we will have completely new groups that will then probably drop or increase the average depending on their qualification. Yeah? There you go.
Hi, Monica McCoy. So as you are thinking about the entrepreneurial groups that you're going to be having with the Best of Volkswagen, what percentage are you looking at from a strategic lens of that innovation and entrepreneurship lens versus borrowing best practices that have been established for many years?
Yeah. I think you would be surprised. I think you would be surprised. And I mean, this is probably the biggest challenge of my task at the moment, having had some experience with 80% takeover, 20% let's see. This is sort of how I lived my factory development life so far. At the moment, we are more than switching it. Yeah, it's about we are 90% American. So that's why I was so much forcing We are developing things new. We are taking over things new. Yes, the core of the electronic might be, but then still it's a Scout electronic. It's basically, and then when you look at the head count that we take in, Chattanooga example, 12 years ago, we had in the factory 300 to 400 Germans invading, doing things, and then we try to Americanize it. Here, I'm below 100, probably rather far less. So therefore, it's the 90% we do it, we try it, maybe even we fail. That might happen, and that's why, let's say, the workload that we're having at the moment is extremely high. We are not a copy shop. Yeah. Good. Oh no, one more.
So I know you mentioned about partnering with colleges and tech schools. What plans do you have like with working with the local high schools and recruiting students from there to either do direct to the workforce or do a partnership with working within the plant and then maybe helping with college and things like that?
I think the high school approach that for us at the moment Corey Epps from the HR department does is to visit, talk to, and understand the high schools and starting basically in a circle around Blythewood. Because I mean, this is for lots of reasons. A, because this is where it's the most visible. B, because commuting is the best. And C, there's a lot of good substance. I mean, the schools in Blythewood and around, I mean, they're fantastic. To talk to them, like, how can we partner? What makes sense? Do we do an extra term? Do we do extra classes? Whatever. We have to understand. That's basically the approach on the high school side. On the technical college, on the USC, on the Clemson, whatever, let's say, on the higher education side, as said, I think, one, we have to be visible. People have to like us. The brand has to be known. We cannot just go and sell. And second, that's why I said we start with internships. We think it's very important to connect, to have people work with us and understand and spread the news. So that's basically the two approaches that we're having. If anybody has a fantastic idea, or go directly to Corey, we're extremely happy to understand possible approaches. Because, I mean, that's a lot of people we need, so there's lots of room for anything.
So you had said that Volkswagen is the investor in Scout. Are they the only investor and other investors?
I couldn't give you a fixed answer on that one. At the moment, yes, Volkswagen is the 100% owner. And for us, this is a very good and transparent situation. Because, I mean, having lots of different topics to think about, I mean, we just heard sales, we heard development and so on. It's good to have one robust side for a company to work in and under that umbrella. Will that be the long-term solution? Or is there other approaches? I couldn't answer at the moment, but it's not a clear no. Yeah, if you look, whatever, the company of Porsche somehow had changes and the company of Navistar had changes. Can happen, but it's not something where we have a clear idea at the moment, but we are very happy about, that's why I'm saying, having a very long-term thinking investor at the moment.
Okay, if I could, Dr. Spies, I am so sorry to take the floor from you. This has been a fascinating lecture, and we've learned so much. We could stay here all day long and talk about Scout Motors. Thank you so much for being here on behalf of Scout and also Poonam. I know that y'all are going to invite everybody to go to Columbia Connection.
Exactly. I have one last thing. For those of you who are anyhow here in the neighborhood, our office is around the corner. And we opened this yesterday morning with the Fireflies doing their game. We opened our connection center. So basically the first floor, we have now a place where we open to the public to certain times, which we use for invitations and stuff like that. Now today, this morning, you would have the opportunity to see when it's fresh and nice still. So therefore, anybody of you who would like to come over afterwards, Poonam and I will be there. Just that as a little invitation. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We're going to have a long and lasting relationship because they're about making connections, and so is the Chamber. And I'm going to bring up Logan now to tell us about the connections that we make with local government and at the State House. So thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Spies. We appreciate you.
Good morning. I'll apologize in advance. I will not be that interesting. So sorry about that. So just a quick update. I want to encourage everyone to read our weekly impact bulletin that goes out every Friday morning. It just updates any legislative updates or bills that have passed throughout the week. So right now in our legislative session, May 9th is sine die, that's our last day. But right now the Senate is on the budget and the full Finance Committee. They will take up the budget on the Senate floor in 2 weeks before returning back to the House for consideration. Some bills, I know we've had some questions this morning about joint and several. Unfortunately, that has died. That bill will not pass this year, but we are hoping that there will be a liquor liability piece on the House side that will address the $1 million premium rise in businesses. Senate Majority Leader, they tried to invoke cloture on the bill last week and realized they did not have enough votes to pass the bill. So he proposed that we just take up the joint and several bill as a whole next year. On the House side, there is an energy bill that we have sent out updates for on our weekly impact bulletin. It's passed the House. It's a Speaker Merle Smith's bill. It passed the House and it's over in the Senate, but another senator has another energy bill. So that will likely go for a few more weeks on debate because they have to look at language and amend, and it's a whole process. Everyone gets it, right? But that is it. Right now, crossover deadline is today, so bills that have not passed one chamber will likely not pass this year. But I guess no news is good news, so that's only the update I have so far. But if there's any questions, I'll be around after. I know there's so many bills that I could talk to you about, but we just don't have the time. Any questions? No? Okay. All right, thank you.
Awesome. Thank y'all so much for being here. Thank you, Dr. Spies, again. Thank you, Logan, for that update. We at the Chamber could not do what we do without you. So we appreciate you guys showing up to all of our events, showing up to our breakfast, supporting what we do so that we can continue supporting what y'all do. So my name's Hillary Bell. I'm the events director at the Chamber, and I just want to give you a quick update. We have some really cool events coming up. Starting with next week, we have our partner engagement at Market on Main. We're partnering with Main Street District, so that's going to be a really great one next Thursday. Check out our website for more information. Our golf tournament is coming up April 25th. We are sold out. Yay! So I know some of you in the room are planning to come, and so if you would like more information about that, please let me know. We also have a couple other things coming up this summer. But just wanted to say thank you so much. Recognize a few people. We have some new partners in the room. So if you see any of these people on your way out, make sure to give them a big welcome, a chamber welcome, tell them good morning, and exchange contact information. So we've got Michelin. I see Lloyd, and I think Jeffrey might have possibly come in too. We've got Equipment Share. Taylor is, I think, there he is. Still Hopes, Christy James, I think it was, I saw her come in at some point. Republic Services, Gabriel, if he's there, say hi. Emerald's Party Entertainment. If you need some face paint or some balloons, she's your person. Give them a call. Senior Resources, and then Communities in Schools. So if you see any of those people, and I know we have a few others in the room as well. I know we have some new people too. So if you are not familiar with what we do at the Chamber, or you would like more information, we've got some booklets in the center of your table, and also Amy. I'm going to have her raise her hand. Where's she at? Amy in the back. If you have any questions about what we do at the Chamber, you're interested in becoming a partner with us, please find her, reach out to her, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and we will see you guys next time.